Hi, my name is Myra, and for today's video, I wanted to talk about the books that I am planning on reading this coming January 2023. Now, for January, I am planning on reading 10 books. 10 books might seem like a lot of books for some people. It might seem like a laughable amount of books, but 10 books is a pretty good goal for me. It's actually a very high up there goal for me. I'm gonna try my best. I might read more than 10, I might read less than 10. We will both find out at the end of this month. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so the first book that I'm planning on reading is Play With Me. So Play With Me is a hockey sports romance. Now this is part of a series. Book number 1 is Consider Me, and that is between Carter and Olivia. And now Carter, he is a professional hockey player and she is a high school gym teacher. But in this book, this is book number 2, this is actually Carter's sister, Jenny, and Carter's teammate, Garrett. So it's definitely forbidden. Garrett's a little bit of a player. Carter's really overprotective of his sister. So they definitely cannot date. So I'm really interested to see where this story goes. Now today is December 28th. I did start the book, so I do want to throw that out there. But honestly, with the new year coming up, I don't really think that I'll do much reading. So it technically, I'm counting it as a January, TBR. Now books number 2 and 3 are also part of a series. I read Love Light Farms in December. I actually just read it this past week leading up to Christmas, and it was just such a great book to read, honestly, for the holidays. It's a Christmas tree farm, and book number 1 is based on the romance between 2 best friends. So it is best friends to lovers. Now this second book, which is In the Weeds, and I do have it here, that's why I'm looking down, but In the Weeds is book number 2 and Mixed Signals is book number 3. I am planning on reading these 2 books. I'll probably throw a book in between these 2, but I figured they're part of the same series, so I'll just list them together. Now In the Weeds is between the farmer, which is also one of the partners. There are 3 partners who own this farm, and he is a hot farmer on the farm. How many times am I gonna say farm? Anyway, so it's between him and Evelyn. Now Evelyn is a social media blogger. She is a pretty big influencer. She posts about locations and places that people must visit, and her and Beckett had a bump into each other in the first book, and it turns out that they had a one-night stand when he didn't know who she was and she obviously didn't know who he was. So they bump into each other in the first book, go their separate ways, and the second book is them coming back together. And again, it is second chance, so I think it'll be kind of sweet to see what happens between them and if there is a relationship, since they haven't really had any emotional development before. Now book number 3, which is also the book in this series, is called Mixed Signals. So this one is between Layla, who is the baker, and she's the 3rd partner that owns this Christmas tree farm. She is the baker on the farm. She does all the goodies that people buy while they're there picking up trees and the ice skating rings and stuff like that. And it's her romance between her and Caleb. And Caleb is like one of a handful of cops in this small town. And it basically starts as a proposition type of romance where Caleb offers or asks her to date him for a month, no strings attached, just to kind of see where it goes, since Layla hasn't had the best luck in relationships. That's as much as I know, but I really liked both of these characters in the first books. Now the next book I have is The Heir. Now this is part of the Kingmaker series. It's book number 1, and it is a Mafia series. Now The Heir is the son of Sebastian and Yelena, which are in the Brutal Birthright series. That's a little bit of a tongue twister there. And they were not necessarily my favorite couple. I still like the book. I really like Sophie Lark. I just completely dove into her books. I love her writing. I think she's a really fun and great author, but that particular book, the couple just kind of was to me. They were okay. I still read it because I wanted to finish out and read on all the siblings, which is basically what the series is about. And like I said, they were an okay couple, but this is supposed to be about their son. So it's the first book. He's going into this Kingmaker Academy, and this is an academy that's basically a private boarding school for other sons and daughters of rich families who are either part of the mafia, assassins, spies, etc. So it sounds really fun. Now the next book I have is Ivan. This is from the Underworld series. This is also by Sophie Lark, but this is a book, again, also about the mafia. It's not related to these other two. I don't know. I should probably do some research, but it is based on a hero who, he's pretty up there in the mafia. I'm not sure what his position exactly will be, but he is sleeping one day and a woman, the heroine, sneaks in and she gets very, very close to killing him. And because she hesitates at the last minute, he has a chance to wake up and stop her from killing him. So he basically captures her and keeps her as her prisoner until he gets some answers from her. He wants to know why she was there, how she even got that close to killing him in the first place, and the motives as to why she wants to kill him in the first place. Now the next book I have is also a sports romance, and this is called The Forbidden Man. Now this is a reverse age gap book, so the heroine is older than the hero. This is going to be a first for me. I'm really excited to kind of see the dynamic, but she is a 40-year-old woman who moves, I don't know if towns or countries, but she moves and decides to take a position as a physical therapist for a professional soccer team or football, whatever you want to call it, it's okay. And it's her forbidden romance between her and the young soccer star. He is 23 years old, so we're talking about a 17-year age difference. And of course, it's forbidden because she's employed by the team. He's, you know, a player, and he's a pretty like high up there, like upcoming player for the team. My only like thoughts and fears a little bit are like him being 23 and her being 40, like him being too young and maybe not mature, but I'm really, really hoping that that's not the case. Now the next book that I have is also sports romance, but I would actually consider it more of like a bodyguard romance. Now this is a book called The Plan. He is a former professional football player. He stopped playing football due to an injury, and she is, I want to say she's the daughter of someone who is also part of the former team that he was in. I think she's maybe the daughter of the owner. I'm not 100% sure, but she's also famous in her own right. They decide to hire a bodyguard for her, but she's too embarrassed to say or admit or walk around with the bodyguard. And so her option is to say, okay, if you're gonna be my bodyguard, we have to pretend to be dating. Like you have to pretend to be my boyfriend because I'm not gonna tell people that you're my bodyguard. Again, forbidden because he's hired to guard her, but she's attracted to him. It seems like he's gonna be attracted to her. So again, I'm getting very excited about reading this. The next book that I have on my list is The Controversial Princess. Now, this is a book between a top Hollywood actor who is super good looking, super, super famous and recognizable, and the princess, which happens to be the daughter of the King of England. I just recently watched the Harry and Meghan Markle documentary that came out on Netflix. It gave a lot of insight as to like the pressures of like being a royal. Another forbidden romance. I guess I'm just really wanting to watch, or not watch. I'm really like in the mood for forbidden. Now the next book that I have on my list is Make Me. So this one, I'm not 100% sure if it's mafia, but I do know that it's crime. So in this particular book, the heroine witnesses her best friend's murder. She tries to get the police involved. She wants to get them to do something about it, and they're just not doing anything about it. So she decides to take matters into her own hands. And she has to kind of go undercover into this world, and the hero is either involved in the best friend's murder or he was the one who killed her. I'm not 100% sure, but she goes undercover and it's the romance between them two. Again, I'm not 100% sure if it's mafia. I just know that it is involved in like crime and illegal activities. So it should be a good time. Now the last book that I have in my TBR is totally and just completely different from anything that I've ever read. This one is Baby and the Late Night Howlers. So this is a book about the Omegaverse. So basically it's like alpha, beta, omegas. Now I don't really know much about it, so I don't want to go too much into detail, but I watched the video by Princess of Paperback, and I can't remember her first name because I'm horrible at names, but she made a recommendation video on Omegaverse books that she likes and books that she thinks would be good for beginners and people that are trying to see if it's a genre of book or a type of book that they would be interested in reading. And this was one that she described as a good beginner-friendly book. So this book has to do with Baby. She has always thought that she was a beta, and she goes to this biker bar, and as she's there, she somehow, and again, because I don't really know much about the Omegaverse, but she ends up finding out that she's actually an Omega and not a beta. And the reason why this is such a big deal is because all packs really protect and care about their Omegas. Their Omegas are like top tier. All packs want them, all packs have them, and it's a really big deal to have an Omega, like an Omega in your pack. And she happens to find out again at this biker bar, but the late night howlers are all alphas. And so her finding out that she's an Omega and them being alphas, they really want to convince her to join their pack. And she needs to kind of weigh her options and see if that is the right pack for her, if these are alphas that can protect her. And I'm just interested to go into it. It's something totally new for me. So the fact that it's so different, it's so new, and I don't know anything about it is really interesting. And I do know it's part of a series. So the best part is if I do end up liking it, I'll be able to continue on with the series. These are the 10 books on my TBR. I have a few books that I want to reread, but to be honest, I don't really know if I'll get to those. I do work 40 hours a week, like in an office physically. So I kind of have to read, you know, after work, at the gym, during like cardio sessions and on the weekends. So 10 books is what my goal is. We'll see if I hit that goal or kind of how it goes, but I will keep you guys posted. Let me know what books you're planning on reading. If you have any recommendations that fit any of these tropes, please leave them below, because I always love and I'm looking for recommendations of books that I can pick up. But thank you so much for sticking around and watching my video. I hope you have a great day, and we will catch each other in the next one. Bye.